Should work. Studio. Says I'm streaming on YouTube. Am I actually? Does not. We are. We are. Okay. We're up and running on 2 of them. The only one we need to get finished is our Instagram. Just here, public save. Get our stream key from Instagram. This is very involved. Way more involved than I thought it would be. We also need to do a mic check to make sure that everything's cooking. Sending data. Do it. Okay, this is 3 platforms all at once. Let's double check and make sure that our audio is cooking. Okay, this is 3 platforms all at once. Let's double check and make sure that our audio is cooking. Okay, so we're just going to be talking. Okay, 3 platforms. Talking. I think we can pull up our desktop audio a little bit here. Audio is cooking. Okay, so like a -7. It's tough because like I don't have a chat yet. I think we can pull up our desktop audio a little bit bounce ideas off of. Like a -7. It's tough because like I don't have a chat yet. Pull up our desktop audio a little bit bounce ideas off of. Like a -7. It's tough because like I don't have a chat yet. Pull up our desktop audio a little bit bounce ideas off of. Oh. Is it muted? -7. It's tough because like I don't have a chat. Welcome to
textured wood siding. You have
and what we're really thinking about doing here is this, and this. Welcome to okay, just double checking.
Textured wood siding. You have
and what we're really thinking about doing here is this, and this. I think we're cooking. I think we got it. Okay, audio feels dialed in. We're up on Instagram. We're gonna double check you Dizzles. Okay, so we're gonna double check our chat feature. Test. Boom. It's going there. Double check this on YouTube as well. Dink. Says we're live. Do a little testy test here. Why can't I? Is it not letting me do that? Just keep listening to drum and bass while we figure this out. Once we're cooking, like we'll be fine. It's just getting there's kind of a pain. Works on YouTube. Love to see that. Award-winning. I'm gonna change our title. No, this is architecture video firm of the year editing videos. Update all categories. Probably should have a description at some point. Video firm of the year, editing videos. Do we have to edit this? Award. Save. Oh, did that just ruin something here? No, I think we're good. Double check. Still cooking. All right, sweet. So we go live on Instagram, and then I think because Instagram hosts differently, it's not going to show up in our chat window. I am correct. It's not going to show up on our chat window. But everything else is cooking. YouTube, TikTok, now we're on Instagram. Now, the fun part of that, and this over here. Okay, so we have our full film is done for this one. We need to now go through and social media. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them to put together. Not to put together, but like we have a lot of revisions we need to kind of piecemeal with all this stuff. Start with one. I don't think there's many revisions on one. Do that. Okay, I think one just needs a little bit of smoothing and denoising we have to kind of push in here. Like that. My notes, stuttery AF, bruh, smooth it out. I think that's because these timelines are in a mismatched resolution. Nope, we're at 2997. I think we just have to change how it... It's like one of these like really niche things. There's a setting to how the program is reading the video. And there's like a standard way to do it, but then you know, when we're trying to push the limits of what it's doing in, like that, because we're editing this for vertical for social media, and so we have to kind of pan manually across a handful of shots, and so we have to change how the program is reading the footage. And there's a specific setting that you put on that's called optical flow. Don't fully understand the nuances of it, not educated like that, but what I do know is that it does have the way it reads the video footage that's coming in is it's a lot smoother. And so especially when you're trying to do like these pans or something, it can have a little bit of a stutter to it. This is our changed clip, which means we have to bring it over here. lights off. Could probably copy a lot of what we already have going on here. Because it's the same time of day, pretty identical lighting conditions. And then track it. It's like the hardest part is stuff like this. I don't know, I kind of think that's a little too washed out. Like, I think it's okay that that we have contrast in the actual building itself. I think I used to have like a tendency to kind of make everything like bright, airy, and cheery. And with video, like, we don't need to do that. I think a lot of times we're trying to create a mood, we're trying to create a feeling, and that's something like the music, the pacing, the story. But the extra layer that I think kind of gets forgotten about is the I think we just make this. Yeah, I know what we're doing here. Is the coloring. Like, the coloring can set a mood. The coloring, that's why there's professional people in this industry whose entire job it is to just color grade. And this is like, you know, something that I've picked up along the way over many, many years. Just like how to kind of put this together. Not like artificially dark, which I don't like. So we want to kind of darken this image a touch, because we're going from a nighttime shot to a nighttime shot, or a nighttime shot to like a kind of a Twilight-esque. So we're able to kind of match a similar tone to the last one. It'll feel a lot better. It for good measure. Dink, dink. Those are the biggest issues I had. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. This one's like a little stuttery for some reason, and I'm unsure why. I think it's because of the panning. This needs a denoise back on. Grass is just like maybe a touch darker than it should be. Try to take some of the blue out of it. that darker. And then our favorite, we have to straighten everything. Your vertical's got to be vertical. Right there. Yeah, then we need another one that actually zooms it in. Touch. Bam. One is done. Highlights done. Brazilian culture. Shot needs to be more elegant. So I think we want to have a shot that's covering
But they're both originally from Brazil.
we want home. Just see how we're doing things here. Yeah, like you can almost go that one again as our intro shot. See if we have anything else here. Because we want to establish context, but also being mindful that it's vertical.
Big influences on the design is the client's Brazilian culture, so they're both from.
Put in there.
So they're both originally from Brazil, and they wanted to fuse that experience and that culture somehow into the design of the project. They introduced us to this idea of maloca. These structures were sometimes considered.
I think we can tighten this up too. I don't even know if we need to cut back to Bob here. I think we can just have this exist. Oh, like I think we were talking about having in some of these.
Structures were sometimes considered, families.
Well, 7 should disable. My keybinds got reset. That's why. Numlock. So that's that. It should be. Oh, it's cropped. Please hold. Where is this? It should be that. It's just this dude. Yeah. How's it being weird? It's like here. And then 1.18 scale. And I need to make sure that these are above everything else. Bam. Left, right, top, bottom, bottom. And 1.34. Da, da.
Or sometimes used for multi-generational families, and other times
Love
they're
it.
used for these large gathering spaces. And they all interestingly have big influences on the. They all interestingly have
Knowledge in the language of the entry of proof Japanese language.
We don't do this end shot. We do this instead of that. And
Continuous roof guides you from the entry to the terrace
this
below,
run the whole
serving
way.
as a datum as you immerse yourself in the landscape.
Bam.
We explored this triangular typology in the language of the entry of this home.
If we don't like it, we just dump it.
Triangular typology in the language of the entry.
There we go. And color correct. Okay. I wonder if I can play this without copyright. Maybe. Because what happens? Because we don't gotta get dinged for anything. And if we do like, yeah, 1 hour of chill J. Cole songs, we should see a copyright. It's this. So there's music on the bottom. It's just like, I wish we could play any of the songs we wanted. I think that one does. I don't think any of the royalty free stuff is gonna be good though. Hold on, can we cook up on Spotify perchance? Maybe? Or does it all just suck? That's what I'm 100% expecting. Eh. So we listen to a lot of like drum and bass stuff. This stuff is so bad. Because like I've been listening to, it's probably gonna get, but like like that's not it. It's this one. It's 100% getting.
If this message gets you down, then I CC'd every girl that I'd CC round town, and hate to see y'all frown, but I'd rather see her smiling. Wetness all around me, true, but I'm no island, peninsula maybe. Makes no sense, I know crazy.
We're putting this on until we can find our stream music. I gotta make a playlist. I think that's the thing I'm learning here, is that
as quick as they can, the atmosphere is now ripped. I'm so like a pimp, I'm glad it's night. So the light from the sun would not burn me on my bum when I shoot the moon. High jump the broom, like a preemie out the womb. My partner yelling too soon, don't do it. Reconsider, read some litter. Sure on the subject,
Sonic.
you sure? Fuck it, you know we got your back like chiropractic. If that
I think we
makes
rock
you
that.
dirty.
I love that song, but it's like we rock with it. We rock with it. Biggest thing with these drone shots is like the saturation is out of control. It's like every camera has like a different recording quirk to it. Canon tends to shoot a little bit more like magenta, so like all your shots are going to kind of hue that way. The drone just shoots overly saturated, which I think is like a very amateur thing to do. To just like crank saturation and that's what I did when I was starting out. You just crank the saturation and contrast, call it a day. Rock with this. We are kind of getting to that point though. I have run into issues with my drone as of late. I have this issue where I was flying it. I had a shoot last week and I was flying it and it was like heavy wind, overcast, it was kind of crummy out. And I kept getting a warning that my battery power was low. In this, not like that it was like, charge your battery, but it was like, we can only charge your battery so much. And because the amperage or voltage on it is like fucked up, we're going to shorten your flight time and shorten your battery life because of that. And I ran into that with all three of my batteries. And so it's kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I use the crap out of it. So it's like, you can get new batteries for the Mavic Air, call it a day. But it's end of your tax season, right? So we kind of have a excuse to write things off. Like we can like save our doubloons that we've made this year as we roll into kind of next year, or we can make a purchase, lower the tax bill. Kind of leaning towards that, but the issue is I know DJI is going to be dropping another Mavic here soon. Well, maybe not, because they just came out with their Mavic 3 like a year ago, and usually those things are on a couple year cycles, because then they have the Mavic 2 Air that's going to get updated, then the Mavic Mini that's going to get updated.
We explore this triangular typology in the language of the entry of this home.
So like, do we bide our time and wait for the next one to come out? Or like, what's it, Mavic 4 release date? Yeah, no one knows, because they're just DJI. Yeah, they're like announcing a new thing coming November 26th, and so usually they have like one big thing that they kind of push through each year. Yeah, no one knows. So it's like, probably make the move on it, because like, when did the Mavic 3 come out? Mavic 3 release date. I imagine that That's the Air 3S that came out. 2023, April 23. So March, April, a year and a half ago. I still imagine it's going to be a little bit before they release a new one. So it's almost like, what the fuck is the 3M? Multispectral infrared. Oh yeah, so this is like agriculture, right? Omnidirectional optical sensing, orchid mapping. Yeah, so a lot of this stuff. So like they've really started to kind of push towards like farmers recently. Which I think it's a good move, but it's not the stuff that we're looking for. Yeah, DJI agriculture. That's not us. Do not own a farm. You could go Air 3S. I don't think that's the move though, because we're still running into that small sensor issue. I'm like, right, what's the Mavic Series 3 Pro? It's probably a little bit bigger, 4/3, I think is what they have. Hasselblad 4/3. So it's bigger. You can control the actual aperture of it, which is nice. And they have the zoom lens on it, which opens up some more opportunity. We don't need we don't need fucking 5K. 5K is so over the top. You're not watching anything in 5K. It's all on your phone, or it's on like a TV. You're streaming on YouTube, and in which case 4K is the max you're going to be streaming there. So 10-bit D-Log, that's nice. What D-Log 10-bit is basically you have a dynamic range of like from the darkest of darks to your brightest of brights, and then what 10-bit basically means is that you're going to get more out of your shadows, you're going to get more out of your highlights. Like there's more information within that range. Night shots, I've literally heard the same thing I've heard from every other drone, is that the night shots are still pretty abysmal. I can notice how like everything they're showing here is like perfect in terms of lighting, right? Like they're not like, when's the last time you saw anything in the thing? So then 3 Pro. Oh, 3 Pro gives you the triple lenses, which then, what do you do? Fly more combo is what we always do. Extra batteries. This I think alone is nice. Not having, so like what you usually have to do with a drone is you have to kind of plug your phone into the controller, and then it has it basically streams what the drone is seeing to your phone, and then that's how you control everything. But that means like your phone has to be charged in a disturb mode, and it gets annoying. But having like a dedicated screen built into it means you only need to have the controller charged. You don't have to worry about keeping your phone charged and everything. Especially if your phone's like what, like you get like 2-year lifespan out of a phone for the most part. Car charger goes crazy. Comes with the thing. Kind of $3,000, you're like ready to go. What's the difference? RC Pro. Is it a better controller? Is that what we're getting at here? I don't like that. Show me what that means. If it's just better battery life, I don't think I care that much. I mean, extra $1,000 for that? Like, is it 1080p, high bright screen, 2 extra batteries? I'm assuming this is 720. Yeah, so I'm guessing that you just get a brighter screen with this. And then what is... Apple ProRes? Is that really an extra $2,000 for ProRes? Which, I mean, like, we don't... I guess, like, a lot of creators are on Apple products. So Apple ProRes is kind of like the Apple's native editing format, and it runs really, really well on their new laptops that they released with like the M2 chips. So if you're committed to that, I guess that works. You don't get the portable charger. What if I want that? Oh, you get the portable power adapter. What am I? Oh, Mavic 3 Pro Cine is what we're dropping here. So, what the flick? So what do we? What's the difference? Maybe we're just saying the 7X sucks. I mean, that's kind of what I figured, is that you have such a small sensor size, like throwing a zoom lens on it isn't gonna solve your problems. What's the... Apple ProRes 422 is just like a codec for, yeah. Which I don't use. Like the 10-bit log, I think for me is much more important than having a higher bitrate recording and color accuracy. I'm assuming that's meant through the... It's really just the ProRes, and I don't need ProRes. I'm not shooting multi-million-dollar films yet. I don't think I want to, but that's just not my jam. Could be cool, you know. I don't know. I just don't think the film market is really the jam I want to get into. Like, I'm enjoying doing the architecture stuff. I think this is where a lot of my passion lies. We don't know. New drone. Maybe down the road. It does seem worth it. I think the Air is starting to kind of fall apart on me, mainly just because I use my equipment as if they were tools, because they are. And so, like, use it like a chop saw, you know? You use it like a hammer and a nail. Like, you want this stuff to serve you. Like, I can't sit here and be super protective of, like, my camera and my drone, because then at some point it stops serving you for that purpose, right? At that point, you're just kind of like protecting this thing. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna risk and fly my drone through these trees. There's a slight chance it may crash. It has crashed before. But if we get the shot's gonna be worth it. And like that's the mentality we have. Right? We get the insurance on it, obviously, send it in. That's another thing I don't think a lot of people think about is the insurance on drones is crazy. Like I had to find a insurance broker to find me a very boutique niche insurance company that would be like, yeah, we'll insure your drone. The big thing, it's not like the physical damage isn't the issue. The issue comes when it comes like liability of like your drone might crash, and if it crashes, then we have to cover whatever damage it's done or personal injury. So I haven't had that happen. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen, but is something we have to consider.
Bases.
Pull the saturation away from it a bit. Still love it. Wouldn't change it for the world. But it's a lot of small things that pop up with this. Okay, 2. I think we're cooking. Oh, that's not the right. Just like the last shot to be a different angle from the ending. Done. Draw shot. Change 2 shots. Don't go away to Bob. Let Kevin's audio breathe more. Too fast.
Explore this triangular typology in the language.
So where it's difficult. It's like we can slow it down a bit, but you know, pitch correction.
Explore this triangular typology in the language of the entry of this home. Continuous.
Yeah.
Continuous
Turn up the.
sloping roof guides you from the entry to the terrace below, serving as a datum as you immerse yourself
That feels better.
in the language of the entry of this home.
Yeah, I think drop it like 90. Drop it down 10%. Feels good.
Below. Entry to the terrace. Below, serving as a datum as you immerse yourself in the landscape.
Whoa, why did it? Excuse me, is it this? Nope, it's this. Why does it do that? Is it a stabilization issue? It is. There we go. Okay, and then that tucks us in a little bit more. Now we're cooking. we have the diagram in there. Okay, cool. 2. Good to go. 3. Less TV. At 22.
Canvas for the
We
furniture.
already adjusted that. I do think it needs to be a little bit different. Yeah, but I don't know. Part of me is like, I want as much
Strong
on the ground
presence
as
as
possible.
the
A little bit
canvas
more over.
for the furniture, the art.
That's good. Okay. Switch hallway versus primary, second to last shot. Oh, so instead of going here, instead of going into the bedroom, we're gonna go hallway.
For the furniture, the art.
Because we're furniture, the art. This makes a lot more sense.
The furniture, the
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, dump this shot. Bring this down.
home offers an emotional
Center.
experience, both raw.
Okay. And we have a color grade on Kevin footage already that we can rip from one shot and paste it to the next shot. Cook it.
You have
Like that, I do think we need to go back here. Yeah, it's not straight. It's all the little things. All the tiny, tiny things that most people would pay no mind to, but here at Birdie-Curse Productions, we care. We care about you. This whole thing just needs to, like, really? Is that what it needs to do? So it really needs to kick out at the bottom. I think we can tuck a little bit from the top. I think that feels good. Now we have to zoom her in.
beautiful copper island.
Yeah.
Have
Just can't
beautiful
feel
copper.
not straight. It's our biggest ish. And that island still feel like this like right here. It's just like ever so slightly tucked in. And I think you notice it because it's like the first thing that goes off a screen. And so the screen is perfectly vertical. And if that's not, and it has a shift when it goes off screen, I think you're cooked. So I think that one matters more than anything else, really. How does that feel? Now that feels better. I think that's it.
Have beautiful copper island.
Yeah. Everything else on here is fine. We just need to dial in our colors once again. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Like here, you know, I think we want a little bit more contrast coming through. What I think we could do is mess with our OBS here for a sec. I think we want to make our like window bigger. Can even like, if I could go away completely, that'd be tight. I don't think that's happening. Go more. Like, what are we, you know? Let's make this immersive. So then, if we swap back to editing, it's a little too much. Bring it down a little bit. Like that. I would even shuffle you to the left a little bit. There we go. Color. Cool. Okay. And then I think we actually throw in our Specta. So that when we go to here, we can actually like kind of see what we're piecing together. Yeah. Okay. Now we're cooking. What are we doing here? Contrast, right. I think we do need to bring this guy down a touch. It's a little too washed. I do have to add a little denoising. It's again, like the film grain thing, it's been coming back in a big way in terms of like photographers really love it. Even some videographers are really trying to get that like film grainy feel to it. I see the appeal, you know. I have an assistant who I bring out with me to my like bigger video shoots, and he's big into the whole film thing, and like he snapped a couple shots of like me doing my thing, and it's cool. I get the appeal. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's a certain like warmth to it, but when it comes to like this stuff, I don't know. I don't think it's there. I think it's hard enough to like convince like designers and architects to be even like commit to doing video, let alone like film. But I think that's a whole different animal.
Steel used on the front door.
There was a photographer I shot with that had a client hire him for film photography, shooting everything on like whatever the standard film photography is, or whatever millimeter. And I think that's cool. Right, like you have this passion of like shooting film in your off time, and then to have someone actually be like, "Hey, we should do this." As like I think that's someone who has like a deep appreciation for like the art. To hire somebody on, to like pay money to hire somebody on to do that because you want your architecture kind of showcased in a very specific way. I think that's cool. Those clients are rare. This one isn't straight. This one doesn't feel straight.
Hurt.
I could get they're like shooting weddings like that, which I think is gonna slowly make its way. It feels like weddings are on the cutting edge in terms of the media marketing stuff, and then everything else kind of follows suit. So like what we're seeing now with weddings, I think we're going to see in a handful of years with other productions, whether it be disposable cameras, film, something a little bit more I think personable is the right word, because we're at such we've been in such an age of everything that we're showcasing, like as architects and designers on Instagram, is this very perfectly curated feed, whether it be an image or your entire like feed itself has this perfect, pristine look and feel to it. And I think we're starting to move in a way where I think that's going to go away. I think people are going to start caring less about these. It's always going to be there, right? Like people are going to, love to see the finished product and like a beautiful home. Oh, I want to live there, right? There's that kind of desire. But at the same time, I think collectively in social media, we're going to see a big shift away from this like perfect, pristine stuff. And I think the only reason that this is still existing in this industry is because of publications. They hold a ton of power. They still like, it's been many, many years. A lot of them are still struggling, I think, to adapt to this like new consumer forward approach to things. But I think once that starts to shift, I think we're going to see a big shift away in how the content is done. Because we were talking to a client who is, I have a very small understanding, but some small understanding of like what's going on in the world of publications, and it's a very, I don't know, is matriarchy the right word? But it's all about who you know, and it's a game that you have to play whether you want to or not. So a lot of the times we're gonna put together this whole video, and then we're gonna be sitting on this video for a year, 9 months, depending on if they can get it published, and then the publication wants exclusive rights to it. So they're going to have first publication for it. So you kind of have to hold on to it until they're ready. And they're usually booking stuff out like months and months and months in advance. And it's like, I don't know. But it holds a lot of merit when you get published in Elle Decor, when you get published in like Luxe Design magazine or Architizer. But at the same time, I'm looking at it from, I think I'm like the Gen Z, Gen X, or Gen Z millennial. Is that it? Yeah, Gen Z millennial like cusp of, where just a very, didn't grow up with this stuff, but it's been in my life for like most of my life, and I think I've just naturally kept in tune with it. And like how I'm seeing this is, I think everything's moving more towards these architects and designers are going to hold the power. And I think if they can continue to garner an audience, then like, why do you need a publication aside from, because like, is the publications really doing anything for you? Are you really getting clients from that? Or are you getting more clients when you're posting updates and stuff on Instagram consistently? That's what I see. I mean, I can sit here and say that, and then I'm still gonna, submit my stuff for awards, which is, I would argue of the same kind of vein, is like, better. It's like, the awards, are we really doing anything for you? Or is this just like a, you feel good about yourself for getting it, which I think is fair. It has validity to that. I don't think I'm knocking anybody for doing that. I do it. I think it helps me build accreditation. As the title says,
Home office.
award-winning architecture videographer, our video firm of the year. That was Luke Design Awards. Shout out. Like, I think like that carries merit, and especially someone who's like super young into this whole thing. I think that I think I need that. Architecture videographer, because it helps bolster my reputation over the course of time, whether it be from like people seeing my Instagram and then following me and seeing the awards and they're like, oh, he's legit, or someone gets reference to me, and then like a photographer or client is like, hey, work with this guy, and they see my stuff, and then they see the awards, and then it's like, oh, he knows what he's doing. It's a very weird world, to say the least. Okay, Bree's done. If you have questions on like what I'm editing or why I'm editing it, let me know, because I'm just gonna keep rambling. Get rid of necessary evil. Okay.
But that kind of resulted in this necessary evil of having this long resulted in this
Bink, bink.
that kind of resulted in this long single loaded corridor. It became this challenge on how do we make this space still interesting and exciting for the client. What better use than to make this an art gallery?
Dump it, dump it.
So the
That needs to get fixed.
experience of art is part of your everyday passage from bed.
Dun, dun.
What better use than to make this an art gallery?
So the experience of art is part of your everyday passage from bedroom.
This an art gallery. Better use than to make this an art gallery.
So the experience of art is part
Let this go
of your
longer,
everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen. Of your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen.
Okay, we just gotta finish the coloration on this. This whole thing just reads super duper flat. Hmm. Square. Track a square. See how well this tracks. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Halfway. Dink dink. 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 Is it really? Yeah, because it's skewed with the zoom. Is that gonna mess it up? Maybe. Well, we'll find out. Done. 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 Okay, so then can we go back and change zoom?
Of your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen.
We can up the strength a little more and the smoothness. It's literally like guess and check. Like we never know what this is gonna net us.
Space to the living, dining, and kitchen.
Because the shot is so dynamic with the movement. And that's as good as it's gonna get.
Of your every
Maybe dial back the strength.
a passage from bedroom.
Maybe we cut it out a little there.
Your everyday part of your every
Right. It's gonna like, and then it jolts back
part of your every
right there. Maybe we just say, hey, come in later. That's
of
fine.
your everyday
That's chill.
passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living. Of your
What is blue? Tilt. Maybe we just say don't mess with the tilt. It's really just like keep it centered. It has a little bit of a jostle, but just keep the rest of it centered.
your everyday passage from
And then
bedroom to the
Maybe
public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen.
what if we say don't perspective 3D?
Your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living,
It
dining,
like
and
backs
kitchen.
out and it stops and backs out and it stops.
Of your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen.
Is better. I mean, like, what if we just crank the strength and smoothness? Just for funsies.
Of your everyday passage from
It
bedroom
really
to the
zooms
public
it in.
space. To
Holy smokes. Okay, so strength stays down.
your everyday passage from bedroom.
Nope. What if we just drop the cropping ratio?
Your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen.
What if we just crank it to 1? What does that do?
Your everyday passage
Okay,
from
it's
bedroom.
basically saying, like, don't crop any of it, is what that's saying. So the higher,
everyday
the less we want crop.
passage from bedroom to the
the lower, the we're saying like, hey, you can crop more if you really want to. Let me drop this, and we can drop this back down.
your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space, to the living, dining, and kitchen.
Perchance.
Space to the living, dining, and kitchen.
That's better. It has like a moment in the beginning, but I think we fixed it. And do need to straighten this. Like there. There. Yeah, I think that's it. And then I think we do need to zoom it a touch. Bam. Other than that, what else do we have going on? This is where we maybe bring in more of the skylight conversation.
So the gallery space is a series of skylights that have a bevel drywall detail, and they bring light deep into this space. They also provide indirect lighting for the art collection. Some of the art is textured, so we knew the light from above would offer a different perspective on how to understand that piece of art. Applying with a series of moves that would entice you into this long, narrow gallery hall and bring you to the end in a way that you want to see how that last piece of art finished.
Maybe.
We're always seeing a dynamic experience in this home, whether you're walking through the house or just sitting in the living room reading a book.
Bob, what do you got? Skylight.
Of
The draw.
just the way we like to approach design, I think at these spaces there's really kind of endless opportunities to design. Some things are very obvious, like these gestural roofs, and other things are much more sort of simple and maybe even mundane. But even something as simple as just a very basic standard profile skylight can be really exciting. And so the idea of just tapering the profiles of the drywall below them to make them read sort of much larger than they actually are was a relatively minor structural adjustment, and it just creates a much more dynamic light well than maybe if it was just a standard kind of extrusion. Adds just a little bit of a nuance, I think, that hopefully kind of just starts to connect to just this idea of this artful moves, right? Because
I think we go with the Kevin verbiage.
So the gallery space is a series of skylights.
And 9.4. Well, the only other thing would be
that have a bevel drywall detail, and they bring The experience of art is
Better use than to make this an art gallery.
So the gallery space is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail and they bring light. So the gallery space is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail and they bring light deep into this space. They also provide indirect lighting for the art collection. Some of the art is textured, so we knew the light from above would offer a different perspective on how to understand that piece of art. Of your everyday art is part of your everyday passage.
Better and exciting for the client.
So maybe bring this in sooner. We take this guy out for the moment, and then we bring in, because we don't want it to be like they're not art curators. That was the kind of conversation around this, is that they're architects. And so how do we make this moment a little bit more architectural? We can start out this sooner.
But that kind of resulted in this long single-loaded corridor. It became this challenge on how do we make this space still interesting and exciting for the client. What better use than to make this an art gallery?
So the gallery space is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail and they bring light deep into this space. They also provide indirect lighting for the art collection. Bring light deep into this space. They provide light deep into this space. They also
Wonky type beat.
deep into this space. They also provide indirect lighting for the art collection. Some of the art is textured, so we knew the light from above would offer a different perspective on how to understand that piece of art.
Pink, 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 pink.
But that kind of resulted in this long single-loaded corridor. It became this challenge on how do we make this space still interesting and exciting for the client. What better use than to make this an art gallery?
So the gallery space is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail. Gallery space is a series. Gallery space. Gallery space is a series of. The gallery space is a. So the gallery space is a series of skylights that have a gallery. The gallery space is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail.
This would be a moment where we slow it down and then maybe bring it down like up a semitone, down a semitone, because too much.
So the gallery is a series of.
Woof, that's bad.
So the gallery. So the gallery is a series of skylights.
I mean, I don't know how much can I really slow it down.
Gallery is a series of.
And make it lower. And this part higher. Alright, it's all about finding balance.
Gallery is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall.
I don't think we can do 80. I think we have to bring it to like.
Gallery is a series of. The gallery is a series of skylights.
Bink, bink. Down.
So the gallery is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail and they bring light deep into this space.
Than to make this an art gallery.
Maybe we just. Fuck that. He set it up.
Is a series of skylights that have a beveled drywall detail and they bring light deep into this space. They also provide indirect lighting for the art collection. Some of the art is textured. Direct lighting for the art collection. Some of the art is textured, so we knew the light from above would offer a different perspective on how to understand that piece of art. The experience of art is part of your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space. They look at detail and they bring light deep into this space. They also provide indirect lighting for the art collection. Some of the art is textured, so we knew the light from above would offer a different perspective on how to understand that piece of art.
Pink. Yeah. I think that changes it so that's a little less art focused and a little more architectural.
But that kind of resulted in this long single loaded corridor.
Check the notes. Bring in skylight, too much gallery. Necessary evil is good. Get rid of tentacle shot, yeah. They have like a little piece of art that has like tentacles on it, and like they're ceramic, and it kind of sticks out into the hallway. I thought I was gonna hit it multiple times. All right, I will be right back.
This project kind of embodies the true nature of quiet architecture. You know, buildings can be subservient and quiet in the place that they are, but still carry a level of confidence about themselves and be good stewards to their context. When we came out, they had excavated to about 70 feet deep. The floor was below the floodplain, and the cave was full of water. They didn't really know what they wanted per se, other than the fact that they had the idea of storing their wine collection kind of underground.
We discovered a more poetic version of what they wanted. You know, if the client had the ability or the skills to design the project themselves, they wouldn't need us. We're the kind of instrument, the tool, so to speak, to help them visualize and realize that.
We back. Okay. Probably gonna do one more, and then I have to go eat, then clean up around the house when my wife gets home. Okay, what are we at? Oh, okay. This is ones that we do a thing called like live editing. So I started initially when I was showcasing, like when I would put together a video initially and then send it to the clients, I wouldn't do any of the color grading. And like my thought process behind that was, if I spend a ton of time on a shot and they ended up not liking it, right? Because you guys are seeing how much is going into just making sure like a shot is feels good, like just a ton of little nuance that goes into it. And so my thought process was like, well, hey, if I don't want it to I want to protect my time, that I'm not over investing a bunch of energy into making these shots look good, because if we hate the shot and we take it out, that's a bunch of time wasted. Is, I think, a very sound reasoning behind it. But as I started kind of getting into this stuff and realizing, oh, maybe like I think clients have a hard time understanding that like this shot is not finished, right? It's raw. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get there, but right now we're just kind of focused on the story, and I think that makes things incredibly distracting. I think is what I'm learning. Is that, yeah, you're protecting your time, but you're also not getting good feedback, because I think they're really focused on the fact that like, why are all of our shots really desaturated? This doesn't look good. So I think I need to start putting like a base grade on everything. Like, not, we don't get it super detailed with all the masks and the color shift, but we just get like a base coloration there. And then we, you know, go from there. Because I think in me trying to like protect my time, which again I feel is very valid, it's actually created more confusion. We're learning as we go, you know. I think some of the things that make sense in like my own head, in practicality, are kind of very different. Just make like the pool brighter. Yeah. Why would it make sense? But I think we've also gotten significantly better at putting this stuff together, where like we aren't spending a ton of time getting the base grade. Like, we know what it takes to get it there. Just like know when to stop, know when to nitpick the details. I think for the most part, a lot of it doesn't matter for like the first cut. It's like in the second cut, that's when we really want to start getting people involved with like, hey, it's maybe the walls are a little too green. This needs to get straightened as well. What is this music? Gravity Rust. Fall Guys. I'm okay. Outer Wilds. We can jam with this. Remove everything. Right? That doesn't. Yeah. Straighten roof. Slow it down. Change out third shot, looking the other way, switch out first and last shot. Yeah, we want these just to be longer in general. We just kind of... So we go... Up. I think we do... Up. Bring out the back side of it more. Because I think that's a little bit more engaging. Yeah, because then we get people, and there's that movement, that interaction, and you could send my ass right in the... My little Easter egg right there. There. Yeah, I think you just let it breathe more. You just let it be a little bit slower, and I think it feels a lot better. Okay, we are exiting Lakeside Pan, which is needs to be a better shot. Just needs to be better in general. And then we'll do the last 1, 2, 3, 4 later. All right, I appreciate y'all joining. We had this going for a minute, hour and a half, and then 20 minutes of nonsense we had leading up to this. All right, appreciate y'all for joining. I'll probably be on later, if not tomorrow, but that's all.